Sheriff, we got a lot to talk about.
I am not an animal!
Damn, I'm thirsty. I want a beer. What about you? You want a beer?
The ice is gonna break! I am not a human being! I am an animal!
And I'm sorry you can't do this. I really am, because I wouldn't have to fucking sit here and watch you fumble around and fuck it up.
I am Shiva, the god of death.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
But for me, it was Tuesday.
And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone.
What the fuck is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another edition of 343. We are back in our regular conditions this week after the insanity of last week. We are no longer coming to you from the Quality Inn, thank God. And Sam has both of his hands, and nobody's trying to kill or torture or kidnap the other one. So, yes, we briefly were 2 for 2,
Feel
but
good,
now
though.
we're 3 for 3 again, and it feels good, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah,
Welcome back. It is fucking crashing every time I speak. So I'm trying to be like the drivers in one of our picks and be very slow and concise. Matt, I have to thank you for alerting the viewers to this problem so we can do bits like this now and not feel like we have to cover it up as much. It's a big relief.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm just going to stay completely still. It's when I move that it does it. Anyway, this is my probably fourth attempt at saying this. Hopefully it won't cut out again. It feels good to be back, doesn't it, guys?
very.
Feels great.
Yes, back to our normal setting here. We have quite the episode for you guys today. This is going to be the remake special. And in order to celebrate this occasion, Mr. Patterson is in his former location because we are committed to making this as much of a remake of 3 for 3
Okay.
as
I'm
possible.
switching to the banana shirt, for fuck's
Oh,
sake.
come on. If you do that, then I'm going to have to get up and then it's going to crash again.
And then I'm going to be alone.
Well, then
One for one.
I 1 for 1. Army of One. They just released the extended cut. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long because people were just dying for that, apparently. Nobody was except for Larry Charles, I feel like, but it's okay.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, what movie was that? Was it
Yeah, with
Cage?
Nicolas Cage. But yes, we have quite an episode for you. Sam does his costume change into his episode 1 outfit. I guess we'll wait for him to get back. Ah, there he is.
I'm back.
A
In his
return
OG shirt.
Blue and yellow. Blue
of a
and yellow.
king.
There we go. This looks similar, I think, to what I wore in the first episode. It's not the exact same shirt, but it's pretty close. It's a blue
works.
shirt.
Yeah, it works.
But
I'm just
anyway,
not over there.
say what?
I'm just not over there, and I'm not even
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
try. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're
gonna try to
switched.
get over there because
Yeah.
there's a lot of
For-
stuff.
I'm just happy for once my hair looks decent on camera. I'll take it. I don't need a costume change. But anyway, yes, we have 3, but really 6, if you think about it, movies that we're going to talk about today because we're pairing up the remakes with the originals. And I think we are going to go ahead and start. Since it's the one I literally just finished seconds before we got on here, we'll start with Sorcerer, which is a remake of The Wages of Fear. Take it away, Mr. Holler.
So, depending on who you are at what time in your life, you're either William Friedkin or, and if I can pull this up in time, because fuck's sake, I can't pronounce this name off the top. Henri-Georges Clausut. and you have decided that you have the one of the greatest stories to ever tell. And what is that story? Well, as we have dubbed on this podcast, picture this. So, there's a big goddamn fire going on. This shit's raging out of control. And there's only one way to stop this. And that is to transport all this nitroglycerin, this very moldy, oldie nitroglycerin, that if the slightest bump hits, or if you hit the brakes too hard and it sloshes, kaboom! You're sayonara, as they say. And so, not everyone's allowed to drive this truck, because it is the most important mission in this area. It is the most important mission for this town. It is the most important thing for the people who are potentially driving, because you're getting paid big bucks. Big bucks. And if not everyone makes it, you get the other people's money. And so, 4 men, technically 8, because we have an original, Wages of Fear, and Sorcerer, one of many remakes of this film, going forth, transporting this nitroglycerin to stop this fire, much like the fire in There Will Be Blood. And yeah, it's the journey. It's all about the journey and the friends you make along the way and the friends you lose along the way. And do they make it? We're about to spoil the fuck out of this, but you'll have to watch to find out if you want to stop at this point. What did y'all think? I love these movies, so it just... I couldn't decide between, sorry.
I've seen
so
Sorcerer before, and so watching this one was interesting because it's like, oh wow, there really was like a whole ass movie that was well, not exactly the same, but very similar. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed both of them. I think I had more of appreciation for Sorcerer after seeing Wages of Fear, but I really fucked with Wages of Fear because that was a first time watch. So, and I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, so this one was different than the other two for me because I'd already seen Sorcerer, hadn't seen Wages of Fear. It was the only time, like for King Kong, I'd seen both. For Funny Games, I'd seen neither. And for these two, I'd seen the remake, but not the original. So with the other two, I watched the original first, then the remake. And this was the only time I watched the remake first, since it's the only one that I'd seen, and then saw the original. So that was a bit of a different experience, just because I like didn't want to. I wanted to see the one that I already knew and then compare it to the other one, rather than the other way around. So yeah, it was interesting because Sorcerer I absolutely fucking love. I cannot sing the praises of that movie highly enough. It is my personal favorite William Friedkin movie.
where's my copy, bitch? Where's my copy?
It's right, where the fuck is it? It's somewhere in this room. It's probably on my, there it is right there. It's right next to my PS4. Yes, your copy is right there, and I will return it to you when next we meet. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun watching that one a second time. I love it to death. The original, I'm gonna be honest, my viewing experience was not the best because I was basically running for my life trying to get it done in time to do this, and it's been an extremely busy week. And so I kind of just had to plow through it as fast as possible. I was kind of tired while watching it. So that might be partially the reason I didn't quite fuck with it as much. But also just for me, I don't know about you guys. Um, the to me, I enjoyed it enough. Again, the viewing experience wasn't the best, but for me, my main issue with it was way, 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 way too fucking long. I was like, kind of, I don't know. For me, I was like, easily 30 minutes of this could have been cut out. The beginning, especially to me, was kind of boring. I was kind of just
I
like,
love every aspect of this movie.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
But
Maybe.
also, I saw this before Sorcerer, and this is what got me to watch Sorcerer. So I like
Oh,
this
gotcha.
being my like first time with the story and everything. Like, and I hadn't watched an older film in a long time when I had watched this, which is about almost 10 years ago at this point.
Oh, wow.
And so I just got completely sucked in, and everything from the sound design to like the sirens and everything I was just all about. Um, Definitely this time watching both of them back to back, I think I like Sorcerer more, which I never thought in my life I would ever say, because I just everything about this first one I'm all about. And that's where I was telling Matt the significant, like, there's small changes between the two, but there's significant changes that Sorcerer just breathes so much freer than this one that is very forward focused, very dense, very like you don't know a lot about what's going on sometimes, which is frustrating, and then but you just got to keep going. But they also don't give you anything, and so it was a weird watch for me, but I don't think there's a thing I would cut out of the original at all.
There's a lot I would cut. I genuinely think this easily could have been 30 minutes shorter. Easily. There's just so much meandering, especially in the first 40 minutes, where I'm just like, all right, we get it. Like nothing, I don't know, like because to
Also,
me,
the first 40 minutes of Sorcerer are
but the first 40 minutes of
different.
Sorcerer are pivotal to the fucking story because the difference is the first 40 minutes of Sorcerer, they're because in Wages of Fear, it's like, okay, they're in this town. They don't, none of them really have any special character or motivation other than they just want money to get out of the town. And you don't really get a sense of like, I don't know who they are, where they come from, like any of that stuff. The first half of Sorcerer does such a great job. That opening stuff at the beginning of Sorcerer showing each of their different backgrounds, how they all got to the village. It's pivotal because it gets you more familiar with their characters. It lets you understand the stakes of why they want the money so much to get out of the town. It just makes it so much more personal. You identify with the characters so much more. And it's something that I thought was, and nothing that happens in the second half has any meaning if you don't have what's in that first half, which is crazy because they originally weren't going to put that in Sorcerer, and it was just going to be Roy Scheider's part as the opening, and the other three weren't going to have any backstory, which is crazy because, again, I was thinking about that going the whole way through, and I was like, yeah, this would not have worked nearly as well if you didn't get that backstory with the other three characters because it just gets you so familiar with them right off the bat and makes it more personal. Especially the French dude, like his whole opening part was one of my favorite parts of the movie. And then again, I don't know, it feels like there are more stakes in Sorcerer. It feels like I don't know, the characters are more interesting. And it's something I was thinking about this time watching Sorcerer. I'm like, man, like none of these characters are really likable at all. I mean, some of them are just outright scumbags, but damn, you feel like you're invested in whether or not they're going to make it out because I think, again, you see what they go through both in the beginning and on the journey. And I was thinking to myself while watching Wages of Fear, some of them I was invested in. I loved Luigi. That was my guy. He was my favorite fucking character in the movie. I was and the other dude too, Bombia or whatever his name was, loved him too. I honestly thought the two of them were more interesting than the other two characters. And then even the cowardly guy, like, first of all, I couldn't fucking stand him, and you're not supposed to. So they did their job well with that. But and I'll give them credit. Like the
His
last
fucking mangled leg.
that fucked me up. The visual of that fucked me up. However they achieved that effect, bravo to them. But he was someone who I couldn't stand him for most of the way through the movie. But then, against all odds, they actually made me feel for him towards the end. Like once because he's a chicken shit for most of the movie and he's a bully. But then in the end, he really tries to get down there in the oil and guide him through. And the fucking bastard runs his leg over and he's just trying. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think they could actually make me feel bad for this character. So that was really when it was starting to like actually resonate with me was towards the end. But the main thing that was just holding me back, in addition to it being too kind of meandering at points, was I did not give a shit about the main dude. I just thought his
I
character
mean,
was
he's no
way
Roy
too
Schneider.
bland. So yeah, I mean Roy Scheider's character from the minute he's introduced, I'm like invested in the dude, and I stay invested in him the whole way through. This guy, I'm like, he's the most bland of the four. He has the least personality of the four. And again, like, I don't know, to me in Sorcerer, like when the French dude and the Palestinian dude blow up, like not only do you feel that, but I love how they take the moment for Roy Scheider and the assassin guy to like feel it. They don't say anything, but you can tell they like it's a weight on them. They're aware of like, it hits them on some level that they're dead. And then I don't know, in this version, he's just like, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Tough shit. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. It didn't work the same for me. He was just a very bland, kind of emotionless character that I just didn't get invested in. I was way more like of the two trucks, I was way more invested in the Luigi and Bambia truck than the other one. And then just, in Sorcerer, all four of them, I was invested in everything they went through. And that was just my key difference. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying for me, if they had made it tighter and made some of the characters a little more interesting, it just would have hit harder for me. That being said, it did have its moments, particularly in the last part. Like some of the perilous things that they go through, while it doesn't come anywhere near to reaching the heights that Sorcerer
You
hits,
don't have the bridge scene,
it if the bridge scene in Sorcerer is fucking god tier. I
but I
mean, that
guess
is
you
just
kind of have
like
it with the wood breaking, backing up to turn around scene. So
yeah, and that's something. It's not nearly as suspenseful, but it is something. And I think that again, in this version, the blowing up the rock scene was very good, just like in Sorcerer, where they have to blow up the tree. And the oil scene was the number one set piece of the movie for me in this one. That I was genuinely in complete suspense throughout that whole sequence.
I ran to go grab this because the reason why I even remotely picked up this movie when I first moved to Florida was because of the cover,
Oh,
which
damn.
is the oil scene, and this just scared me.
That
Frankly,
hits hard, man.
it scared me, and that's where after even seeing this and then seeing Sorcerer, I was thinking to myself like, "Damn, freaking films are usually dirty, but not this dirty." And so like that's where I want to like shout out both pieces of music within both. Tangerine Dream is a
Oh my
godsend,
God.
Yeah.
and everything they do is amazing, but especially Sorcerer and Georges Aruik or whatever his name is, from Wages of Fear. Like that score just sucked me in, and I was very about it. Um, but that's where I was wondering, Matt, like, what were your thoughts on the comparison between the two? I know you kind of prefer Sorcerer, and you said that, but did
I
you
think I
actually
do.
like
I do prefer Sorcerer. I do. I mean, I liked Wages of Fear, but I think Sorcerer definitely resonated with me a little more.
the
So
tree is very different from the rock? I didn't realize that until seeing it this time because I hadn't watched I only watched Wages of Fear once, and I had seen Sorcerer 3 times, and I just assumed in my brain like it's the same level of the tree, but it's a whole different kind of vibe
would
between.
you
It's funny to
go?
me because, oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead. I was going to ask a hypothetical. I can get there later.
But yeah, between the two different versions, there's only really two scenes I can think of that are like to me directly the same. Like so much of both movies is just vastly different. The only
Yeah.
thing that's the same is just the basic premise. But there are only two that are like directly taken, and that's the blowing up the rock, which is of course the tree in Sorcerer, and a scene that honestly I thought was brilliant in both versions. The scene where the second car blows up
Oh yeah.
in Wages of Fear, again, full props to the way that scene was directed. Just them rolling the cigarette, and then you see the wind blow it, and then they look up, and the explosion happens, and I'm like, "Fuck!" That was the direction in Wages of Fear is honestly the highlight of the movie. I thought it was incredibly well directed. The cinematography was fucking gorgeous. That like. What the nighttime scenes in particular look so good. I love the whole scene in the oil. I don't know, just the way it was lit just looked really good, and just so much of it was very well directed and well edited.
Especially
And
the fire at the end when
yeah,
when
that
it,
look
when they finally get there.
I was impressed at how like real that looked for the time, you know? I was like, I don't know how they were able to control such a big fire like that, but it was really like
They had
intimidating.
nitroglycerin. They blew it up the second they needed to.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, so more on Sorcerer, because Wages of Fear, again, maybe if I saw it under less stressful conditions, I wouldn't be as, and not that I didn't like it. I thought it was fine. I just didn't like love it. I thought it was a little slow, but thought it was, fine for what it was. Um, but Sorcerer, I can't say fucking enough about. Just, I mean, that the because the direction in Wages of Fear is very good. The direction in Sorcerer is fucking just masterful.
Friedkin!
Masterful. I gotta give Friedkin credit. I mean, he fucking it's amazing to me that the fucking movie even got finished, let alone turned out so well. I don't know if either of you know about the production history of the movie, but it was
Been like 4 years to get it done or financed,
it
at
was
least.
it was one of the most chaotic productions of all time, pretty much. It was like they were out in the jungle, everybody was getting sick, Friedkin was losing his fucking mind. Like literally, I'm not exaggerating.
Sounds about
Half the
right.
crew, half the
Anything
crew
filmed in the
either
jungle,
say what?
anything filmed in the jungle has a
I
fucking
guess that's a
insane
rule,
story.
isn't it? But it's literally no exaggeration. Half the crew either quit or got fired by Friedkin before the shoot was over. The cinematographer left halfway through and got replaced. The fucking drivers got replaced, and he was pissing off Paramount. There's a shot in the movie of the board of directors of the oil company. That's the Paramount board of directors, including the CEO, who was so pissed off that he didn't promote the movie because
Damn.
he included him as one of the villains, which is why this movie bombed when it came out, and all kinds of shit went down on this one. But and that's the thing too. Friedkin was a genius. I mean, he thrived under pressure, and he was a genius, and he made some of the greatest movies. But one thing he was not good at was recognizing when he had a great actor, because there are numerous films he's made where he had a great actor who gave a great performance and he couldn't help but just shit talk them for no reason and act like they were bad. He apparently immensely regretted casting Roy Scheider in this movie. Thought he was like not suited to be. He said he only worked as a second banana and wasn't a leading man. Never mind the
Second
fact that
banana.
yeah, there you go. Never mind the fact that this came out 2 years after Jaws, so he definitely was full of shit. But Roy Scheider in this movie, I just got to give him a shout out as well. He's a world-class fucking actor. He was such an incredible actor, one of the most dependable ever,
Top
and just
tier.
say what?
Top tier.
Yeah, for real, and just gave his character so much fucking depth just with the choices he made. All four of the
Yeah, I
actors
was gonna say
were,
Bruno Kremer is fucking fantastic in this movie.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
same with I can't say his name. Um I
Amadou.
Amadou. He was one I just I
Francisco
love.
Rabal as well. They were all he in particular. I don't know, something about this watch. I was very interested in his character this time around. I mean, I was the first time as well, but I don't know. First of all, his performance was so great. And again, that's one thing I like about this version too is in Wages of Fear, like when the coward guy joins after it's only kind of remotely implied that he killed the other guy, and then they kind of just don't
Just
address it.
straight up do it.
Nobody really cares. They're just kind of like, oh well, okay, I guess you're doing it now, and there are no consequences. I like how in Sorcerer it's a much bigger deal. Like the one guy threatens to kill him, and they're all like, "Call the cops." He's like, "No, no, no," and he's like, "Look, I'm watching you, buddy. I've been watching you since you got into this fucking town." I don't know. There just seemed to be more stakes and more tension in that version, which again makes it. And again, don't approve of Friedkin's methods because his methods while filming this were very questionable to say the least. But I do love at points the old school filmmaking in this that you just don't see anymore. Like that bridge scene. I know they almost died making it, but goddamn, if that were made today, it would not look real. It would be on a green screen. It would be CGI rain. None of it would be. And I'm just watching this thinking, every bit of this looks real. It looks like they're about to die. and you just don't fucking see that anymore.
When they like
You know,
tip super far to the side and then just like hit the gas and like move, I'm just like, oh,
yeah. I mean,
it's too
and that was the
much.
thing too. This was my second time watching this, and I was still just on the absolute edge of my fucking seat during all of those scenes. Like I didn't know what was going to happen, you know? Can't I can't and yeah, Sam, like you said, the score is one of the best in any movie ever. Shout out to fucking Tangerine Dream, who until Matt reminded me, I forgot did the score for Thief, which is also a banging fucking score. So they're just killing it all over the place. And yeah, again, just while I don't approve of all the techniques that Friedkin used, one story that I have to share that I don't know if either of you read that I just love, just the Matt, kind of what you were talking about last time with Seconds with the low key kind of guerrilla filmmaking techniques, where they were trying to find a way to blow up the tree and nothing they were doing was working. They were like barely making a dent in it. And so they're like, what the fuck? How are we gonna like no special effects guy is gonna be able to blow up this tree? Like none of the ones we're hiring are
Danny
working.
McBride.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what you needed right there. But Friedkin literally hired an arsonist from New York called Marvin the Torch to fly down to South America and blow up the tree. And
That's
motherfucker did it in one take.
insane.
None, none of these special effects guys can do it, but Marvin the Torch got it done in one fucking take. I just love
Marvin
that.
the Torch.
Shout out to Marvin the Torch. But I love that he's just like, well, fuck it. We need to blow up the tree. I'm just gonna call this fucking guy.
And
Just
then the best arsonist you know.
say what?
It's like he's on the phone and he's just like, send in the best arsonist you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey Chuck, it's your cousin Marvin.
I was gonna say, how many times do you have to get caught to get that
Marvin
name?
the Torch.
Listen to this.
Oh my God.
Then just this explosion.
But anyway, I feel like I've talked about it too much. Matt, do you have any other thoughts on it, or Sam, either one of you?
No, I really want to stress like it was so hard for me because I've been trying to get Wages of Fear on this podcast for like a while, but I knew that Sorcerer was the ultimate answer, and so the second we decided remake, I was like, here we go. It's my
Yeah.
excuse to watch both of them,
Yeah.
and that's all I needed. So
Yeah, this movie is
two of my favorite movies of all time. Sorry.
you're gonna say it. You're good. I was just gonna say this movie is just fucking bleak and depressing and harsh and
I do have a
you can kind
question
of
for
just
you.
feel it.
Sorry, Matt, I interrupted you the whole time. But do y'all think like how do y'all find the flashback to him as the like mob driver crashing the car?
Oh, well,
'Cause
first of all, I have to say that stunt was crazy. I'll never forget watching that the first time and just being like, holy Christ, how did they get that without someone dying? Like, it looked so fucking good.
that's
Yeah,
where
and again,
I had a weird feeling because the first time I was blown away. The second time I thought it was really cheesy, but this time I was all about it. So
it just looked so fucking real. I mean, like, and again, I forget exactly how they did it, but I was also reading about how they did that stunt. And again, they tried it a bunch of times and they couldn't quite get it how Friedkin wanted. So he ended up making this pivot and then it worked on the first take. So I forget exactly what they did, but a lot of the stunt drivers were scared to do it. And he was like,
just as
fuck you,
that
I'll get in the
car comes,
passenger seat so you feel more safe or something like that. So, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, again, whatever they did, God bless them because it looked great. And yeah, I also like again how I think the ending of both movies really work. I think again because I'm watching Wages of Fear and I'm like, even if I hadn't seen Sorcerer, I'm like, this is too clean of an ending. It's gotta be he's gotta die like he does in that one, you know? And I like how they do the big fake out of like they're happy and they're dancing and the editing is fucking great, them cutting back and forth. And then he just goes off the side and dies. I was like, damn. And just like the shot of like his hand, like dead hand, and then the fin, I was like, good shit. That's great. The one adjustment in Sorcerer that I did think made it better was I liked how in that version, because in Wages of Fear, once he delivers the nitroglycerin, again, he's pretty much just back to normal. He's just like, all right, I'm happy. I got my money. I'm gonna fucking drive off and I'm driving and I'm laughing and I'm gonna and I just like I don't know. To me, it was better in Sorcerer how like he's fucked up, emotionally scarred after it's all over. That just seemed like a more realistic place for him to be. And just him having the dance with the girl, I like that too. I was like, his last moments are just this human moment, just trying to dance with this lady before he leaves. I don't know. That it
I'm
was
sorry,
more.
what, finish
Oh, go
Jackson.
ahead.
I was just, we've been talking a lot about Downton Abbey, and the ending of Wages of Fear made me think of the driving scene with Matthew.
Oh,
Completely.
oh, you want to talk about traumatic driving scenes?
But when he's
Downton
like
Abbey
swerving
tops.
side to side, I was like,
Woo.
ah, this man's gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking I again, I would love to watch Wages of Fear under much better conditions because I don't think, and again, I want to stress, even having watched it like this, I did not in any way dislike the movie. I just, thought that there were certain things that maybe could have been done a little better. The main thing for me was really just the main character. I didn't
That's why we have a remake.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And then just comparing it to Sorcerer, having that there as well, was
Someone
just
else's vision
like,
is what it needed, and
but
that is
but
William Freakin.
but I do give Wages of Fear all the props for all the things that it does right, which is a lot of things. Like, I mean, again, great direction, great cinematography, great performances. Motherfucking shout out to Luigi, the GOAT. The GOAT. I was fucking so sad when he blew up in this one, and I knew it was gonna happen because it happened in Sorcerer, but still, he was the fucking hero of the movie to me.
Hell yeah. Where are you gonna drive this oil truck next, or nitroglycerin truck
Forgot
next,
I was
Jackson?
hosting. Yes,
Yeah.
next.
Hypothetically, I forgot. I actually was going to ask this question earlier. How much would you guys like? How much would it cost for you guys to do that type of trip?
Do you want to
That's a
answer,
good
Jackson?
question.
Okay.
Like today's dollars. Uh,
Because
I-
I'm scared enough to drive a U-Haul truck to where I won't do it. So I don't know. I don't
I
know.
would definitely be. I would be. You know who I would be in this in Wages of Fear? I would be the homie who storms out at the very beginning and says, "Fuck you! I'm not doing this. I'm gone." That would be me. I'm like, I'll stay in this shitty ass town if it means I don't have to die in an explosion. I'm cool with
Frankly,
it.
I'd be the dude who's a coward and then ends up like helping the other dude and then getting ran over.
As
Yeah.
I say, for me, it would take at least 1 million to consider it.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Consider
That's a
it.
good number.
I don't
Because
know.
like
I'm just like I'm in both versions. Well, that's the thing. Which trip are we taking? Are we taking the Sorcerer trip or the Wages of Fear trip?
That's a good question. I
Are we
was
having
a
to drive over the
sorcerer.
fucking bridge, or are we just having to go really fast through the mud? Like, what are we doing here?
I wouldn't want to do the U-turn, but I would go through the mud, but I wouldn't want to do the bridge. So it's a weird toss up for
If
that.
it's the Sorcerer trip, I ain't doing it. If it's the Wages of Fear trip, maybe.
Maybe. I need the
Maybe.
right person in my passenger seat.
Yeah, that's
True.
the key thing. As long as
So
you don't have a chicken shit in your passenger seat, like our main character had, then who did help him in the end? I have to give him credit and
dying in
got
his arms.
Oh, that scene too. That scene too. Again, I was like, towards the end, man, it was really hitting for me a lot towards the end. That part where he's dying in his arms and he's like, there was nothing behind the fence. That shit hit hard. I was like, I didn't think I'd be sad when this character died, but I really am right now. I've hated him for almost the whole movie, and now I'm fucking sad as shit when he's dead. That's right before they get there, too. It was so fucked up. But again, I do think, and we're going to touch on this, I guess, in the next one. Sorcerer to me, just to sum it up more concisely, is like taking the premise of Wages of Fear and basically just like adding that little extra bit to every scene that it needs to be go from like a fine movie to like a masterpiece. It's just like Friedkin knew everything that needed to be done to just, heighten every scene, heighten every aspect of it. And to me, again, just the little touch in Sorcerer of the car breaking down and him having to fucking go on foot the rest of the way and carry the thing all the way to the fire. the scene in Wages of Fear works very well, but something about just the way it's done in Sorcerer, just that shot of him carrying the box all the way to the fire, just hit so fucking hard. I was like, I just love how he took just that little step
Must
with
say
each
though,
thing. I also love the fucking assassin dude dying in the back seat. That was fucking, I love how they started off like really not liking each other and distrusting each other, and they kind of had a bond by the end. Like I like that aspect, but which they did in Wages of Fear too, and I like that as well.
just the main
So
character is less likable, so it's harder to see their relationship like flourish.
yeah,
I must
and I
say
give
though,
them. Go
oh
ahead.
no, you can do yours. Mine's a final statement on this. So
Oh, I was just gonna say it really is incredible how the characters in Sorcerer are so much less likable, but I still found myself so attached to all four of them. Like especially on this watch, I was like really sad when each of them died. I don't know
because
how they did that, but it was impressive.
it's because where there be oil, there be Americans.
And there be blood.
That was a great line.
And where there be mysterious islands to conquer, just like Christopher Columbus, there be Americans trying to make a movie.
And where there be funny games, there be Germans. But not in the remake. There be Americans there. But
Yep.
we'll get to that one. Next, since I alluded to it, let's take a journey back to the 30s. And
Well,
let's, for the second time in this podcast history, let's go ape shit. Because it's fucking King
that's
Kong, motherfuckers.
income.
You said you couldn't find your 33 copy, you fuck.
No, I found my 33, not my 2005.
Oh, okay.
You
I
both
have it.
have copies of King Kong and I don't? Oh, you
Somehow,
motherfucker.
somehow.
And then I
Okay,
got
all right. I'm gonna put cases on all you bitches.
the
You think you can
Carl
do this
Denham
shit to
production.
me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. 23-hour lockdown. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I'm the man up in this piece. That's right. That's right. You better walk away because I'm gonna burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Anyway,
I must say, if I stutter or if I come across too much, let me know during the rest of this episode because I've been drinking the Sour Monkey. And the Sour Monkey is a 9.5er.
Oh,
So,
well, it's fitting for King Kong. So, but if you're ever gonna bust it out, this would have been the one.
oh, there I am.
Uh-oh.
I'm back.
But yes, we did, of course, I chose the Peter Jackson directed 2005 remake of King Kong, in addition to the 1933 original, directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Shedsack, however the fuck you pronounce his last name.
Shed
But sh he's shedding a sack, I guess. But
yeah. Showed Shack.
showed sack.
Showed Sack.
There we go.
Showed Sack.
But he showed a sack. I'm gonna show y'all my sack on camera.
Yes. But
Please
that's
do.
King Kong Sack.
No, that'll only be
I've been
for
thinking about it ever since last episode after you went south.
ever since we if we ever put a Patreon up, that'll be one of the tiers is I get to show you my sack. But but yes, it's for those of you the five people on Earth who don't know what King Kong is about. Very simple plot. A filmmaker named Carl Denham recruits an actress named Anne and in one version a ship captain and the other version a playwright named Jack Driscoll and a whole bunch of other crew members on the ship just like Sam has in the background there. And they go to the mysterious Skull Island because Carl wants to film his latest movie there. And he thinks it's going to be the biggest movie of all time because it's an island no one has discovered before and no one knows what's on it. And when they get there, they find out not only is the island inhabited by bloodthirsty creatures, and those people right there, the fucking mummy-looking people right there. Yes, all kinds of crazy shit is on that island. But there's also a giant ape named Kong there. Yes, There he is. That's our man.
Kong be strong.
Kong be strong. Kong got a dong, and it's really long. And he's singing a song. But yes, and then we all know the story, of course. After surviving many perils on the island, they capture Kong, bring him back to the city to be an exhibit, and he fucking gets loose and quite literally goes ape shit on everybody. And then he gets on top of the Empire State Building and fucking gets shot down by the planes.
As Matt, yeah, I was gonna say as Matt put into the podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah. And yeah, where's your model plane?
I'm not wrong place.
But yeah, I don't know if Sam has a clip for us. He told me he did. I don't know if he brought it with him. I feel like he needs to
I need a
whip it
second.
out.
I need a second. Sorry,
Whip it
I
out.
forgot. In the hype of the moment.
Whip it
But
out.
yes, but while Sam looks for that clip, Matt, I will turn to you first. What are your thoughts on both King Kongs?
So the 2005 one is definitely like a childhood one, which is funny because again we're continuing that little thing. Uh, I saw that a lot as a kid. Um, I even had a King Kong mask that I was looking for that I couldn't find.
Which I wish one of us had brought. That would have been fucking hilarious.
I was looking for it before this, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, I mean, I played the video game a lot as a kid. Is played that twice actually for that was
I
my
was
first.
gonna bring up the video game. It's insane.
It's insanely good. Yeah, you can play as King Kong and as the people. Um,
Sounds fun.
but yeah, I mean, I really love the movie. I think the 2005 one is like damn near. I want to say perfect, but it's like fucking great. The 1933 one is really good for its time. Like the special effects are great. You can tell, like, damn, that's pretty cool. Uh, yeah. I mean, that's at the moment,
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say.
Sam, do you have it for us?
I can't pull it up without spoiling what I have in store later, but I'm gonna play the audio. Unfortunately, play the audio.
Bring back dinosaurs. Terrible lizard. That's what dinosaur means if you break it down. But picture this, folks.
Picture this, folks.
Velociraptor, mounted border patrol agents. They'll rip your head clear off. Pterodactyls patrolling the skies. Velociraptors on the ground. To prevent the immigration apocalypse we may have to counter with a dino-apocalypse, folks. It's true.
A dino-apocalypse, folks.
Dino-apocalypse.
Picture this, folks.
Picture this, folks.
We're gonna need some Replababes.
Velociraptors that tear your head off.
We need a defense. The dino defense.
But Sam, what do you think of both King Kongs?
Oh my god. So for the longest time, like the longest time as a kid, I did not understand that King Kong 2005, Peter Jackson's rendition, was a remake. That was my King Kong. That was the King Kong. That movie scared me. I had multiple nightmares about that movie. I had multiple great dreams about that movie. What were you saying, Matt?
The centipede
Oh,
scared the fucking shit out of me.
the fucking bugs in this goddamn movie. This movie
R.I.P.
scared
Andy
me as a
Serkis.
kid. I
R.I.P. Lumpy.
not understand. Like, I didn't even knew who Andy Serkis was. He just was this character in King Kong.
We
I
didn't
didn't
know
know
he
who
was
Jamie
King
Bell
Kong.
was. I didn't know who anybody was. Adrian Brody, Jack Black, Naomi
Kyle
Watts,
Chandler.
Yeah.
Colin Hanks. I didn't know anyone. And I love this movie. Every time I see this movie, I love it more because there's so much. There's so many tiny details that are just within it. So many tiny details within the big picture. And then when college happened, second time around, I took an anthropology through film class, and we studied the original film in great detail. And I got to really appreciate the Peter Jackson film because he does, as you said with Sorcerer Jackson, he takes it and he sprinkles in the right amount of each individual element that makes it fresh, that makes it new, that pushes the story forward, that changes your opinions of characters, makes you have new characters within the same realm of the same character, and nonetheless, you are jaw dropped when she is on that pyre being sacrificed to Kong, and the scream. Naomi Watts is Scream Queen.
Green
Yes,
Queen.
Matt.
She's my queen.
This movie is one of the best movies to come out of the last 20 years. Completely. And I just
The
love it.
making of it
I
too is
just love
really
it.
interesting.
Oh
Uh,
man, I'd love
yeah,
to if it exists, and I'm sure it must. I'd love to see the like Lord of the Rings style like behind the scenes making of this movie because I'm sure it's
there is.
fascinating.
Yep.
It's one of the
There's a
saddest
scene.
stories to ever exist as well. He never asked to be taken back. He never asked.
He was forced.
But he did
Uh,
ask to fight this fucker. And he
Oh yeah,
that's such a
ripped
cool
that
scene.
jaw open.
fucked him up in both versions.
Yep.
And I do
Um,
need to. I drink it, but I need to shout out the King Kong Cola.
a
There you go.
It tastes just like a soda.
I was gonna say gorilla piss.
But
Gorilla
it is
jizz.
great. And I kept the bottle so I could put like pins and stuff
Banjo
inside
drinking.
in the thing. So
Yeah, Sam, pretty much everything you said, I completely agree with. I think, look, I love the original King Kong. I think it's a really good movie. I think it is, especially for its time, it was
groundbreaking.
it was groundbreaking and it was very cool to see. I love pre-code movies because seeing from that time, like seeing people try to get away with more mature, taboo things in the 30s, it's just such a rare peek into their like their way of seeing that kind of stuff from back then, and you never get to see that when, in the later 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and stuff. And I just really like how you get to see you would think, oh, it's from the 30s, it's not going to be that scary, but it really is at parts.
This movie's scary.
Yeah,
Both
King Kong,
versions.
the original is very scary.
You know
It
the original scared people.
Yeah, because well, I'll get to this later, but the original, not only just seeing him genuinely like crush people with his feet and bite them in his mouth, and that scene where he fucking reaches into that lady's room and grabs her and throws her down
Drops
onto the
her.
street. Say what?
That was a great. I was like, yeah. Then he just drops her ass.
Yeah,
He
I'm
didn't
just
throw her.
like
He just goes no.
like 3 years after this movie, they would not have been able to get away with that. I mean, just it's amazing how in this pre-code era they were able to really make it scary. And so again, and all the performances are great too. Fay Wray is outstanding. Robert Armstrong, who played Carl in that version, was great. Um, you can't say enough about it. Kong himself, you appreciate the size and the scale of the production because most movies at this time you'd think this would be a B movie with this premise, but the fact that they gave it such a huge budget and gave it all this big production value and built all these giant sets is really cool, and it makes Kong when he finally shows up feel bigger. It makes him feel more larger than life because you've already been you've established this larger than life world that they've traveled to that looks real because of all these giant sets. And so it's great. But as you said, Sam, to me, the 2005 one, just like Sorcerer with Wages of Fear, takes everything from the original and just adds everything to every scene that just improves it, makes it more fully fleshed out, makes it better. Because the original, the first, I would say maybe 30 to 40 minutes, they do a great job establishing character development and building suspense. But then, kind of from the rest of that point on, it's just a monster movie. Like it's just them getting killed by the creatures and it's just meant to just scare you, scare you, scare you. Like character development kind of stops until towards the end. And even then, that's still kind of a monster movie. And you just pretty much got your three or four main characters, and all the other crew members are just totally expendable. Again, they're just there to be killed by the monster. In this one, you've got your three main characters, and then they make sure that the crew are all fully fleshed out characters that you're extremely invested in.
Thanks.
In the original, you don't really care when they die because you don't know who they are. But in this one, every time one of them dies or gets hurt or is in peril, you feel it. My man, Evan Park is the actor, the black dude. I loved his character. I remember being so sad the first time I saw this when he died. I loved the relationship between him and Jamie Bell. Jamie Bell was great. Kyle Chandler was great. Andy Serkis as Lumpy, just the fucking cameraman I felt really bad for when he died. And just, every supporting character, Colin Hanks as well, like every supporting character, you really fucking are invested in them. And there's more emotion. You're more emotionally attached and there are more stakes. And
Let's,
again, go ahead.
sorry, I must say, for those who live in Charlotte, near Albemarle Road, this could be a staple, but Big Al's bar, I used to go there a lot as a kid, and it was in a location and moved to this location with this giant whale sign. But I saw this movie numerous times on that TV in that bar, and I to the point where like I would start to like tell the bartenders please turn on the audio, even though like the loud bar stuff was going on and I was a fucking child. I could not stop watching this movie when I saw it, and I completely get why this would be your version. And I know that's our time period. If we were born in the 30s, this would be our version. But it's hard not to just think of everything that this movie does as the true way to do it.
I
And I
mean,
mean, the
again,
CGI is like better than 90% of the CGI nowadays.
oh my God. Thank you for bringing
100%.
that up. You're 100% right. Looking at the CGI on Kong in this, I'm like, this still holds up, man. I mean, it still looks fucking 20 years later. It still looks fucking fantastic. And shout out to the guys at Weta who are still the kings of fucking CGI and motion capture and all that. But, and again, you can see fucking Andy Serkis's face and his expressions through there. So that's again one thing that,
Did he do Kong?
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't know that?
Kong?
I've seen this
Are you
movie
kidding
hundreds
me?
of times. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Damn.
remember like as a kid when I figured that out because
Damn.
it was in a magazine. I was at like a car dealership, like waiting, for my parents' car to get in or whatever. And I was looking at this magazine and they were like behind the scenes of King Kong. And they were like showing Andy Serkis. And I just remember looking and I was like, why is that fucking dude who plays the cook in a King Kong mocap suit? I was so confused. It didn't even click to me that it was him.
He's
I was
always
just like,
been the
I guess
cook.
they just put him in the
I've
suit
never
for a
even
day.
thought that he was Kong. I don't know why. He was just the cook.
Because he did Caesar too, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
And of
homeboy.
course, Gollum. So Peter Jackson was just like, well, you want to come play another mocap role in my next movie? But yeah, so and you can see it. You can see his expressions through Kong in this. It's not just a CGI thing, it's like real facial
That
expressions.
explains why Kong's so emotional.
Exactly. You have a real, again, OG Kong is great, but you don't have that same connection to him. And that's kind of, again, that's my favorite change in this one is in the original, you're not really supposed to like Kong. He's just a scary monster who you want to see get shot by the planes. In this one, they make him likable. They make him have a relationship with
I,
Anne, and you're invested in that. Like Anne doesn't really like him in the original. She just wants to get away from him and she's scared of him.
I
And
agree
then in
with
this
that, but
one,
I've always felt bad for Kong. That
but
that
I
part
know,
of
but
me
like you're,
never wanted to be him.
And so I do
I
want to
didn't
bring
want
up, I know we were
the
only talking
planes.
about really the two, but I did watch the 70s one again. Um,
Which
which
I've
I
never
wanted to see, but
seen. Yeah, I've
I didn't
never
have
seen.
time.
I
Is
was
it
gonna
good?
say, did we I can't remember in the original, was there a stowaway like Jimmy in the 1933 one?
No.
Because see, that's the thing is what he did was he took part of the 1970s one and put that in there because Jeff Bridges in the 1970s one is a stowaway.
Mhm.
And they're
Okay.
like, who is this guy?
I always assumed
And
Jeff
he ends up
Bridges was
being the
the
one who's
Adrian
like trying to
Brody
help
kind of
people.
like.
So yeah, and
Interesting.
Charles Grodin's in it too.
Wow.
I know Jessica Lange as she and Jeff Bridges are the only two I know.
And they do in that one they kind of bring up more like Kong and her being more in a relationship. Like she actually cares for him a little bit. Because there's a part later where she's like, "Yo, like they're trying to like just relax, don't hurt him," that kind of shit a
Right.
lot in the original or in the
Well,
70s one.
hey, then that's something because I was going to bring
Okay.
that up. Like, I think each one kind of has something that it contributes to the King Kong lore. Even the 70s one, which isn't really considered the best by any means, like it did that at least. It was the first one to introduce that, so that's cool.
And then
Yeah, it was interesting.
2005 introduced the circumcised fucking uncircumcised bugs. The
Yeah.
absolute pieces of shit.
But I was gonna say the 2005 one, if I'm not mistaken, introduced the name Skull Island because they don't say that in the 30s one. They just say his home is Skull Mountain, but the island itself has no name. And I was watching both this time, and I'm like, is this the first time they used the term Skull Island? Like, that's interesting. It certainly is in the movies, unless they said it in the 70s one.
I can't remember because like I was like, I don't think they do because they're just looking for oil really in
Oh,
the 70s. Oh yeah, yeah, it is. Skull Island is in the 1976 King Kong movie.
well, then that one introduced that as well.
Yep. It actually isn't terrible, it's just like weird. But it
Yeah.
is, I feel like it does like he did take a little bit from that too, so he didn't just ignore the other ones.
But I love how in this one he does, like, you know, he tries so hard to because each of the three remakes and the way that they go about remaking the movies are very different. With Sorcerer, it's basically just taking the basic premise of Wages of Fear and then kind of doing its own thing and not really copying that much outside just taking the same premise. With Funny Games, it is a shot for shot, line for line remake, and then here it is taking the beats of the original, expanding on them, making them better, having more emotional depth, making them richer, and doing so much of its own thing while also trying to pay tribute to the original in such a profound way because there are certain lines that are from the original that they include in this. There are certain I didn't even remember this until I saw it this time when he's introducing Kong on the stage and he says, "And we all remember that old Arabian proverb." I was like, "Hey, I don't remember him saying that last time. That's so cool." Like acknowledging the title card at the beginning of the original. But yeah, I think in general, oh, and what I was just gonna say, one thing I think that this one also does better is in addition to um Kong and Anne's relationship being, I think, a lot more interesting in this one. I just think all three of the characters, the main three characters in this one, have so much more depth than in the original. Because again, in the original, they have it, like in particular in the first third of the movie. But then once Kong shows up and it just becomes a monster movie, all their character development kind of stops. But I think in this one, again, watching it again this time, I just, from the first second she shows up on the screen, I just love Anne's character. I just the whole thing of her being an actress and wanting to make people laugh and struggling and all that. I don't know. It struck a chord. I think
That difference between the original and this one, where Anne is at the actual event versus Naomi Watts' choice to not go, is a completely emotional, just separating between the two.
which I had completely forgotten about until I saw it again this time. I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot she wasn't actually there in this version." But yeah, she was very likable, and maybe that's also just because I love Naomi Watts with all my heart. As paraphrasing a movie the three of us all just saw recently, Friendship. Like I would want to fucking just even like just a platonic like non-sexual relationship, just like I just would like want to be with that woman's soul, you know what I'm saying? But to paraphrase Connor O'Malley, but I love her to death. She's a queen who makes everything she's in fucking better just by being in it. And so that probably helps. But I also think the character herself is just very well written and very just, like the original character, not completely glamorous and flawless because she is struggling, she is poor, she's having to steal food from the street, and she makes the embarrassing mistake of thinking the wrong person is the playwright and all that stuff, and it humanizes her, and I like that. And then, man, the other two, because she's the closest of the three to her original character. The other two, like Adrian Brody's character, is completely different in this one than in the original. And I remember watching it the first time thinking that was one of my favorite changes in the whole movie because in the original he comes through in the end and he saves her from Kong and they end up falling in love and all that. But let's just call it what it is. He's a sexist jackass in the original. It's
I
just like
mean, like what's the quote I think I put on mine?
women
Was
just can't help being a nuisance.
yeah, yeah, women just get or yeah, it's like women are always a bother. I guess they just can't help it or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
just
just all
like, "God damn, but
his
you're all right though."
one of my favorite lines is she's like, "But you hate women." Yeah, I know, but you ain't women.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. But yeah, so that's his character isn't the easiest to love in that one at certain points. And I like how in this one they made him the more sensitive kind of playwright character who as I read a little bit of Roger Ebert's review of the movie, and he pointed out he was defending Adrian Brody and Jack Black's casting by saying like it doesn't need to be a like handsome, muscular dude to be a hero. Like he's kind of like a shy, sensitive playwright, and he's still able to save the day and save her from Kong and still be a hero. And I'm like, exactly. Like, he's not Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler is a jackass. And Kyle Chandler even says it. He's like, look, good guys don't usually look like me. They're bald and they're short and they have beer guts or whatever he says. And I'm just like, yeah, man, you're not all
I,
the way wrong on that one, but
One of my favorite parts of like it's so small, like this small little scene with Kyle Chandler is just when he puts the fucking mustache, like the comb over his
he's so great.
I don't know
Every-
why, I just love that.
He's such a jackass. I love it. But and this is an early part for him too. I don't know if this is pre-Friday Night Lights or it was right around that time, but this is an early part for him.
This was
So
filmed for a bit, so
I think it's a little bit before, but and then Carl in this one too, you know, something that I think the two of you are gonna like to hear, because I don't know if you know what I'm gonna say about this. The first time I saw this, I was one of the many people who said Jack Black was miscast in this. And I was like, because that's not a hot take. That's what most people say is that he was very miscast in this part. And I was one of the people who agreed. I was like, oh God, I don't know what they were thinking putting him in this. This just doesn't work. And I was expecting to feel the same way this time. And then I watched it this time and I completely came around on that. I was like, nope, he 100% works in this part because he's not what you're expecting because you're expecting the character from the original movie, who's the more kind of like, gruff producer kind of character. And you see Jack Black and you're like, this isn't the same thing, but he's not supposed to be. In this version, he's kind of supposed to be. In the other version, he's more like a fairly successful director, producer guy. And in this one, he's more just like a failed, like kind of scrappy director who's trying to get his movies to get noticed and it's not really working. And they even say at one point, and to me, like, if you miss this line, you missed that, or at least I did the first time, where they say, like, yeah, I mean, he's a nobody, he's never had any success, and he's never gonna be, he's just a failure. And when I heard that this time, I'm like, okay, they're going for something different with his character this time. And Jack Black is perfect for that version of the character. And I also noticed when I was watching it, I was like, I can't tell, but I think he's going for a little bit of an Orson Welles type vibe. Like, and then I read that's exactly what he was going for when he played the character. I was like, I could see it. I could see that that's what he was going for.
I
But
thought the scene where he convinces her to get on the boat, like to actually come with him, was really like, damn,
yeah,
that's
because and also like,
acting.
and I was just thinking while watching that scene, I was like, okay, I appreciate how he is trying to like play this part straight and not just be Jack Black. However, at the same time, some of his kind of comedic lines were still like, I thought that was just a masterful delivery of what is it he says to her? Like, don't worry, you can trust me. I'm a movie producer or whatever he says. That genuinely made me laugh. I was like, oh shit, good on you, man. That was a great delivery. But he also in the original movie, his character isn't the best guy, not the most likable, but you don't hate him. I hate this fucker. I hate
100%.
this fucker in this movie. I don't remember hating him that much the
He's an
first time,
asshole. He's a
but
piece of shit.
God damn did I hate him in this movie. I'm like, you best. And such a great scene between him and Colin Hanks towards the end where they just exchange that silent look where Colin Hanks is just like looking at him like, yeah, motherfucker, enjoy your big night. Like half the fucking crew died to give you this night. Enjoy it. Like
Yeah,
that's
here's that line about some sh like being for the price of an admission ticket. I can't.
yeah, oh God, that's such
Like,
a great. Hmm.
I'm just gonna go back to the boat. Or no, I'm gonna go back to Kong because I didn't get enough images from this movie to showcase the real powerhouses, which is the supporting cast. Naomi Watts, Adrian Brody are top tier, but the supporting cast also elevate everything.
there's like some shots that aren't even in like I guess like from the beginning and end really that are just in New York, which I thought were really good.
Agreed.
Like the opening with the zoo and then the like the Hoover Towns,
Hmm.
like
What do
the
we
or
think
the
of those on this podcast, Sam?
Fucking hate
yeah,
it.
brushed over
Fucking
that.
hate it.
But then also at the end when Adrian Brody's at the play and he's just watching those dancers dance, but there's like no sound at all while they're dancing on stage. I was like, I fucking love that. Especially as a kid, I didn't realize what was going on. I was like, what is happening?
That's where I really
Just King
want to
Kong.
pinpoint. I in the last year saw Tintin, and the whole taxi chase with Kong and him just reminded me of that movie this time completely, and it was so fun, and it just reminded me why that movie is also really good.
And I like that they also, this one at the end, they took a break from all the chaos and they had that little scene on the ice. Brilliant scene.
I love. Oh, you don't like it, Jackson?
No, I love it. That is one of
Okay,
my
okay.
that is one of my what so this was only my second time seeing this. And it had been a while since I saw it the first. I can't believe because this is one of my all-time favorite movies, so I don't know why I've only seen it twice. But the first time I saw it, like that was one of the scenes more than almost any other scene in the movie that stuck out in my memory was the scene of them playing on the ice. I fucking love that shit. I don't know. It's just Peter Jackson. First of all, I have my fucking Mount Rushmore of directors who are my idols and who I love. He's fucking on there. I love him to death. I think he's a fucking genius. And he just fucking knows how to do just so much for the most part. Not I'm not acting like every movie he's ever had is great, but man, when he hits and when his instincts are just on point, they're on point, and he knows how to like take a little moment like that and make it so meaningful. You know what I mean? There were so many moments like that in the Lord of the Rings movies that, were just so small but just provided so much. And here, like that ice skating scene to me, like you said, Matt, it provides some levity. It gives them an even closer like bond before. Oh Christ Almighty! Oh, that's just him. I was like, what do you have there? There he is, the man himself. But
Oh,
go ahead, Sam.
the goat.
Yes, the goat. I love him to death.
I,
But yeah, I love that scene. I love it to death. It's so, and then just the contrast of them playing around on the ice and having that nice moment to like the government like firing the fucking missile and just like diffusing the tension immediately. Just yeah, incredibly well directed and just everything about it is great.
that's where I
Um,
really want to shout out James Newton Howard. That man captured Max Steiner's original score and then just took it and then pushed. And everything that this film does musically emotionally captures you.
That's one thing I wanted to mention. I forgot to mention about the original is how great Max Steiner's score was. And this one as well. James Newton Howard is one of my probably top five favorite composers. I love him. And he, on the one hand, I remember watching this for the first time being disappointed that Howard Shore didn't do it. But I think James Newton Howard did a fucking fantastic job, like you said, captured the essence and so many of the pieces. I remember the piece in particular where Anne and Kong reunite in the city and they're walking towards each other. That one really got me. I love that one.
Yeah.
Um, and so much of the stuff in the jungle. And one thing I was gonna say that I love him for is I don't know if either of you have read this story. in the original movie, there was a sequence that got cut after the test screenings because it scared the living shit out of the audience, where that he included his own version of in this movie. The scene where they fall off the log into the pit and get attacked by all the bugs, that was supposed to be in the
I was
original
gonna bring
movie.
that up because the centipede scene in this with her in the log reminded me so much of Jurassic Park 3 for some reason. And that whole scene where they're in the log and then the
Oh
dinosaurs like
yeah.
going
Yeah,
through
good
and then she
point.
sees all the like bugs and everything there too. It just made me think of both of those. And Spielberg and Jackson have a relationship, so who knows how that
No, we
worked
don't.
out.
I
Yeah,
wish.
baby.
I wish. But but yeah, no, they I love how he because apparently there was a scene in the original where a bunch of spiders ate all the crew members and literally the test audiences were so scared they like ran out of the theater and shit and so they had to cut it out. But I love how he was like and it became like legendary because it's lost footage now and like no one can find it. And so he was like, "All right, well, I'm just gonna do my own version and put it in the movie." And I remember watching it the first time being so fucked up by that scene, especially when Andy Serkis has his fucking face eaten by the damn circumcised worm thing. But
Uncircumcised, excuse you.
uncircumcised, excuse me. Oh,
Uncircumcised.
God bless. You're very right. That is very uncircumcised.
This is the circumcised part, but that is the shaft.
Yes. Two balls
That's the
supporting the
worst of
shaft.
all. Yeah.
But and also I know like a lot of people's main complaint about this movie is that it's too long. Again, could not
I
disagree.
disagree.
Could
Yeah.
not disagree more thoroughly. I think every fucking second of this runtime is justified. There's not a second of this thing that I would cut out. I think
It's one of
again,
those movies I feel like when it's over, you want to restart it almost.
for real. I mean, I was watching it again. I'm just like, why have I only seen this twice? Like, I love this movie so fucking much. But and I want to see it again. Say what?
Matt, what's behind you? That certificate.
This is just like for the all these what do you call it?
Bills?
These arts, like these little
Production
production
design?
art, but
Yeah.
it's a authenticity certification. But it's 19,000, so I don't think that's really his signature. I think it's just a printed one.
That's still
Still
pretty
Anyway,
dope
cool.
as fuck.
yeah.
That's
It
still
came
pretty
in this
cool.
thing and then I got it in the case for like $1.
I thought that had the DVD in it, so I'm
It
surprised.
has well, this has like the it's literally this is just the special features to King Kong. And there is a DVD inside.
That's fucking
But it's
awesome.
not even like the movie. I have the movie separately, which has some of the special features. This one has like a lot. A lot more than I'm used to. I haven't even
I
opened it
would
yet.
love, I really, really want to see the behind the scenes for this movie because I'm sure there's so much that
So much.
that would just be so awesome to learn about how they made this because you can tell, again, just for me, look, Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings. Like, it's one of the greatest cinematic achievements ever made. Like, most things can't come close to it. But this to me is like in that same vein of just like, Peter Jackson making just this gigantic, beautiful epic with this just such finely crafted story. And shout out also to Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, who are his co-writers who do everything with him. And just, just his whole team for, because he made this right after Return of the King, of course. And to me, some people, we kind of talked about this with Orson Welles to a degree where they're like, what happened to him after Citizen Kane? And to me, it pisses me off to hear that as much as it pisses me off to hear what happened to Peter Jackson after Lord of the Rings. This, motherfuckers, this is what happened. He made another fucking epic ass banger, is what he fucking did.
I mean, I literally stopped, I think, around the ice scene, and I saw that there was 40 minutes left, and I was like, okay. And then just hit play and just kept going.
Yep,
Like, there's no part of this movie that I don't enjoy watching.
agreed.
Yeah. And Jackson, just to your point about the special features being crazy, there is one scene where Peter Jackson's just sleeping on the couch and they pan over to the editing bay and Danny DeVito is just standing there behind the editors, like pointing at the screen and like talking to them.
Danny
And it's
DeVito
like, just,
edited
yeah.
this movie.
Yeah, this is the funniest like little tidbit. It's just like, what? That's why
Okay.
my original review is he edited this movie.
I need to get this on DVD. I don't know if it's like Lord of the Rings where you got to get the special edition to get all the behind the scenes stuff, but I would
That's
love
what I
to.
have, the 2 disc special
That's
edition.
that's the one I have as well. I have that somewhere.
Okay, I need to buy that so I can watch all that shit. Because I would fucking love to. Because the behind the scenes appendix stuff for Lord of the Rings is some of the best shit you'll ever see about the making of a movie. So I'd love to see that for this one as well. Yeah, and just can't say enough about it. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll never forget watching this for the first time. It just absolutely blew my fucking mind. Just I've been in love with it ever since. I hate that
Wrap
this
this
is
up with
only
a
my
Kong on
second
the
time seeing
screen.
it, but say what?
We should probably wrap this up with a Kong on the screen because I only have one image apparently. I thought I downloaded three.
Well, that's a good one. He's in full force right there. And I
You could
like it.
say that he is 3 for 6 on planes this week. He's not 6 for 6 on the movies, but he's 3 for 6 on planes.
Fun fact, there's actually a alternate ending to the video game where Adrian Brody and Anne, or Naomi Watts, like hop in a fucking plane and they help King Kong escape. They get him back to Skull Island.
Okay.
How? On a
Apparently, that was originally a possible ending for the movie, and they obviously scrapped that. But he was like, "I'm just going to use anything we scrap in this movie, and I'm going to put it into this video game." That's pretty much what they did, apparently, because there's a couple things that aren't in the movie.
Well, speaking of which, one last thing I'll say that I found out is apparently Peter Jackson really wanted to get Fay Wray, who was still alive as they were going into pre-production, to make a cameo in the movie and say the iconic last line. And then she died like right before they started filming, before they could get to her stuff. So it wasn't meant to be. But frankly, I would have loved it if she was in the movie. Carl needs to say the last line. That's just, that's how it's supposed to end. Having Jack Black say it was how it needed to be.
one of
And
the most iconic final lines of a film ever.
ever,
Yeah,
ever.
ever.
I'm glad they kept it. And I'm glad again, like, I don't know, again, just to me, this is just as good as the original one is. This one just takes everything that did, expands on it, makes it deeper, and just I'll always say, even though some film fans might consider it blasphemous, I truly believe without question this is the best version of King Kong. I think
Uh,
it's up there with Peter Jackson's best work. I love it. This just reaffirmed because I think this was the first non-Middle Earth movie of his that I had ever seen. So it just reaffirmed like, okay, you don't need to stay in that universe to be a genius. I knew that already, like just because I know you're brilliant, but you can make just amazing, epic, just
You need to
shit
see Bad Taste.
no matter where. I still really want to see that.
You need to see Bad Taste.
I want that and Heavenly Creatures. I would have picked Heavenly
Oh,
Creatures. I would have picked that for this podcast by now if it was on anything. But
Frighteners is
I
fun.
might pick the Frighteners if I can find it anywhere.
Frighteners is great. That was one of the first DVDs I ever bought that was scratched, and I had an issue, and I was so upset that I kept on trying like different methods of like blowing on it, wiping it, and everything, and it just wouldn't work after the halfway point, and so I had to pirate the second half because
Oh wow.
I couldn't not finish the movie.
Damn.
Okay.
That sucks.
I do still own my copy of that though. It's one of the few on my list that I need to replace my copies of. I just have never done it.
Well now this
Looking
is
at you, you fucking special boutique Blu-ray releases. If one of you has a copy of Frighteners, I'll get it.
I feel
Give
like
it to me for free though. Give it to me for free so I can review it on this podcast.
yeah, give it that's what we need. We need movies, beer, and weed.
and props.
And
Props.
props.
All kinds of props.
Philip Morris costumes to sponsor us.
I really am sad that none of us had a gorilla mask. I was really hoping at least one of us would whip one out.
I
I
was trying to
was so
figure
mad
out.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out my computer if Zoom had a like filter like face thing like Snapchat,
Oh.
and it does not. I was gonna try to do a gorilla mask for that, which is why I pulled all these images up last fucking minute.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's a good if that's your one Kong image, that's a good one. He
Yep.
he looks very mighty in that picture, even
Well, I
though
guess
he's
I have
wearing
the other
board
one
noise.
with the dinosaur, with the T-Rex.
Oh yeah. Man, he fucks that T-Rex up in both versions. That fight is so great in both versions.
There it is.
Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, but yes. Now we're gonna go from 1930s New York all the way to 1990s Austria, and then
Okay.
1990s or 2007 America
Yep.
with
Does it take
funny
place in
games.
America?
Say what?
That's
I
not
didn't
the
think.
sequel.
I thought
The remake
the
does.
remake. Really? I thought it still took place in like London or the UK or something.
Nope.
They're both American.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because the
Yeah.
whole point, well, we'll get into it, but Mr. Patterson, take it
And
away.
yes. So as we say on the podcast, picture this. Um, you're just a nice husband and wife trying to have a good old-fashioned vacation with your son, um,
And your dog.
and your dog. Yep. And there's nothing wrong really with you. You're not bad people. You're just kind of really rich, but that's like nothing bad. You're not a terrible person. And then people show up at your door. These two dudes wearing all white look like golf trainers, are golf trainers as far as we're aware, and they just need to borrow some eggs. Yep, they just need to borrow some eggs. But dumbass is a klutz. He breaks the eggs, and now you got to give him more eggs.
Who is that dumbass that breaks the eggs?
Depends on which one we're talking about, but the only actor the name at least that's coming to mind is Brady Corbet.
Second
Goddamn, right?
time on this podcast.
Yes, not on screen last time, but yes.
Second time this
He
episode
looks
that Naomi
vastly
Watts has
different.
run from a hairy gorilla.
Okay, pause for a minute. I have to tell a story here before you continue, Matt.
Okay.
Sam and I are filming a documentary together, and we were just recently doing that. And we stopped for lunch one day, and we're eating lunch, and I order a grilled cheese sandwich, fries, and a milkshake. And as I'm drinking my milkshake, Sam makes a joke, the joke that he just made. He says, "Yes, this episode. There are two different movies where Naomi Watts is being terrorized by an angry gorilla, and I shit you not." Chocolate milkshake almost came out of my fucking nose. That is the first time in my life I've ever had that happen. I didn't think that was actually possible. I thought that was just a thing in movies, but I shit you not. It almost came out of my nose, and I wiped my nose, and you could see the chocolate milkshake on my nose as I was wiping it. So, yeah, I just had to share that story. Anyway, continue.
Um, but yes, and you don't want your eggs broken. You just want to keep your eggs. And these guys are being kind of dicks. And you want to kick them out. And your husband comes back in and he's a little fucky about it. But eventually he comes around because they're just dicks. And yeah, they're really funny dicks. And they like to play games. And it's a really wholesome movie. Um, the whole family gets to play a really fun game, and nothing bad happens at all. And then they go about their day, and it is a good movie. No, I'm just kidding. The exact opposite happened. They terrorize the fucking shit out of them in both movies, and there is no hope at all
At
to
all.
resolve on that one.
By the time we get to the remake, there's no hope.
Oh yeah, no. And then yes, as Jackson was mentioning, this is a shot-for-shot remake of the 1997 version. Line for line, maybe like small, like little changes in the lines just to make it because it's English, but it's basically the same exact movie. Even again, the shots are almost verbatim the same, which I find interesting because I could have picked Psycho, which would have been
I
another
was
one of the
thinking about that when I
terrible
was
versions.
watching this. I was thinking about that.
But there is a very good reason for why he did this, which was because one of the reasons, I guess, was because his movie did not reach American audiences who he had kind of intended it for to begin with. And so he's like, well, this will at least go right to, the people I intended it for and get a bigger audience, which it did. I we'll get into that part in a second, but yeah, it is just the same movie, different actors, which is kind of, and the point of just people loving violence and not being able to get it. But anyways, I'll let you guys take it away. I know Sam, you've seen at least both, if not one of them before. Jackson. I'm not sure about you.
I'd never seen either one.
Good. I'm glad I tortured you enough.
You were the one torturing me, you bastard.
Yes.
But Sam, I'll let you go first.
Well, I have two initial things to say. First off, I'd hit Tim Roth with a golf club just to say hey to Naomi Watts, so I don't really blame him. Second, just like Georgie, I bet a lot of women have been seen scurrying like a fucking rat trying to hide from Mackle Pit. So.
The second appearance on this podcast
Second appearance on this
as a murdering piece of shit.
Yep.
But in all honesty, I saw this first one in the middle of the night when I was way too young to even understand what was going on. It was very fucked up, and I had a very like warped perception of my memory of this movie, thinking it was way more fucked up than it was. But that was in 2016, which the summer of 2016. Matt knows why I didn't really remember this movie that much.
Yeah.
But once I moved to Florida, in the following year, I saw the original in theaters in a indie theater in Florida that nobody was at, and the original just fucking captured me. The sensory overload that both of the movies have in the beginning with that heavy metal music that just takes you off. It's exactly sometimes my thoughts. I'm chilling, boom, craziness, I'm chilling. And so I connect with these movies in some of the weirdest aspects, and I love the original so much. And it made seeing the remake this time made me realize so much about how much like where it was at defined the types of movies I was watching, defined the like what I valued as like a messed up movie. And I never found this movie that messed up until I saw that original version. And so that's why I really loved seeing it this time, because it's the same movie twice, but just it was so fun seeing that again and having Naomi Watts and Tim Roth both in Twin Peaks season 3 now, just going crazy. I could not care less about Tim Roth in this one. He could have died from the get-go. I care about the original father a lot. Tim Roth is a fucking goner. Georgie is the shit. Georgie did not deserve what happens to him. And then this movie also made me value Killing of a Sacred Deer a lot less, because that movie pulls so much from this in the final scene with the bag over the head of the child, the shotgun, the living room scene, everything. And so it was a very interesting rewatch, but I enjoy both movies quite a bit. I'm now like in a very middle ground between the two.
I do want to bring this up too. Not only did Naomi Watts get kidnapped twice this episode, her name's also Anne in both occasions.
No, it is not. Are you serious?
It is.
It
Yeah, it
is.
is.
Yep.
Holy shit, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
I noticed it this time when I heard like in Funny Games and they called her Anne, and I was like, no way.
That's fucking crazy. But so well, I have three things I wanted to say. Matt, first of all, you said that they're just two dicks. So at the end, when Naomi
Dicks in a
Watts
car.
at the you cocksucker, you just stole it from me. You son of a fucking bitch. You just ruined the fucking punchline.
I'm sorry.
So
When Naomi Watts flags them down at the end, would you say they're two dicks in a car?
But
Thank you, Sam.
I genuinely am sorry. I didn't know that's where you were going with it.
That's probably even funnier now than it was gonna be if I had just done it. But yeah, so the audience doesn't get it either way. That's
This is an inside joke.
what makes it even funnier. But so that was the first thing I had. The second thing was the moral of the story of Funny Games really is be kind, rewind. If you know what I'm fucking saying.
Speaking of Jack Black.
Exactly. And also, I could not disagree more with something you said a minute ago, Matt, which is that there's a good reason for him doing this a second time because there wasn't. So we've come to the point in the episode, ladies and gentlemen, where Wages of Fear I thought was fine and enjoyed just fine, even though I watched it under stressful conditions and didn't love every part of it. I liked the original King Kong. And I love the original Funny Games, and the remake is the most unnecessary fucking thing ever made. Um, the original, again, had never seen either one. The original fucking just, I mean, like went through my fucking soul. Like the amount of disturbing shit. Like when I started the movie, I knew the basic idea. Like two kids basically kidnap and torture this family. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a pretty generic plot. Let's see what they do with it. It's Michael Haneke we're dealing with, so I felt like he was going to deliver something interesting. So and I was like, okay, well, but I know where this is going, like I've seen it, the whole home invasion genre is so fucking played out, but let's see where it goes. I was not prepared for how much this movie was going to fuck me up, the places it was going to go, the creativity of it. I genuinely think it's like an amazing, amazing movie. Um, the the two murderers, the two kids, are so genuinely terrifying in that movie. Like the one guy in particular, just because he's so calm, he's so matter of fact, he doesn't play it like a fucking uh-oh.
Okay. Oh, we're doing it back on the remote. Don't know what's going on with my computer. I'm probably going to have to restart it, I would
Fuck it,
assume.
we'll do it live.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
entity's fucking with you again.
I was doing good. Now I'm crashing.
Well, no, just your audio.
True. Anyways, okay,
We
where
can
were
work
we?
around that. What was it? What were we saying before?
Oh God,
Oh,
I don't even fucking
yeah,
remember.
no, I was just saying the original again, those two guys are so scary. The main dude in particular, the way he's just so calm and just like he doesn't play it like a typical like crazy killer kind of
Well, that's,
guy.
if I may say, Michael Pitt does too much. I think Brady Corbett was the perfect casting as that other dude.
I was gonna yeah, I was gonna get to that, but you're right. I think like the original dude does such a great job of not overplaying it, just being very calm, but at the same time, he's very calm and very normal seeming, but also just so diabolical, just with his facial expressions and just the smarminess with which he talks and just, but he doesn't
It's his
over,
shaved head,
he doesn't overcook
his
it.
buzz cut.
Michael Pitt is doing way too much. He's playing it way too much like the I'm the creepy killer kind of guy. And his fucking monotonous ass voice, like, just was piercing my fucking ears, and I just hated it. And yeah, Brady Corbet was better. Like, and that's the thing. Like, Naomi Watts is trying. Tim Roth at points is trying, not the whole way through, but at points is trying. But the problem is, first of all, I'm just against shot for shot remakes on principle. There's no reason for them to exist. If you're gonna remake a movie, make it different enough to stand out on its own, or don't fucking do it at all. Looking at you, How to Train Your Dragon, and Lilo and Stitch. Fuck you both. This is why we can't
Yeah.
have nice things. Those movies making so much fucking money. But a little side tangent about that aside, um, so this was an uphill battle as it
Sorry.
was, especially since I watched the remake like 3 days after I saw the original, and I was just not at all ready to like get that fucked up again by everything that I had just seen. So, and I have to emphasize how much I never do this. I never do this. This is the first time I've ever done this. That's how much I never do this. I just was on my phone watching this for a lot of it. Or like at one point I went up to go make lunch and didn't pause it and shit because I'm like, I just fucking saw this. I don't need to fucking. I was paying attention to parts of it, but I was like, I just fucking saw this. Like, I gave it a chance at first, and I'm like, oh, this is just line for line, shot for shot, the same damn thing, but it's in English instead of German. So I'm like, I don't need to. But everything that I was seeing, I was like, this is worse. This is just worse. Like,
Funny, I just want to put this out there. I disagree completely with both of you. I liked the American version like 10 times better than the original.
really?
Just to put that one out there.
I'm kind of
So I
glad.
can I
I
can
mean,
stand on the I can at least have that side of the people.
That's a take.
It is a
Wow.
thing. I know. I just it was funny because like the exact same thing you're saying about this one is how I felt about the first one when I saw it. I was like halfway on my phone through it, and I was like paying attention, but I was like, eh.
Which one did you see first?
I watched the original first. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen Funny Games already, the Naomi Watts one, but it had been like years, and I didn't really quite remember everything. And I didn't hate the first one. I was just like not as I don't know. I paid more attention to the
I just think
Americans.
everything about the first one is just so the
the
brutality of
American
it.
one's a bit more fucked up, I feel like.
I think it's a lot. I think the second one is honestly kind of unintentionally hilarious at parts, at a lot of it, because again, it's like for one thing,
Hilarious. What do you mean?
just some of the scenes are just stupid. Like they were making me laugh, honestly. Like the scene in the first one where they first turn and like the husband slaps him in the face and they hit him with the golf club. That scene made me laugh in this one. It was so stupid. I don't know, just the way it was staged and the way it was paced and acted in the first one felt so much more suspenseful and just like natural. In this one, just the scene of Tim Roth just like slapping them in the face, like, now please leave, just fucking made me laugh. Just the way it was,
That
I don't
I
know.
will admit that one was a little funny because like I noticed he smacks him, says leave, and as he's walking away, they like say his name, and he just turns around so casual, like what? Like I didn't just smack the shit out of you,
Which
you
again,
know? Like
which again makes more sense in the
uh,
original. It makes
I
more
will say that.
in the original. It makes more sense because of the again, not only just the vibe that they've established, but this is also a problem with a lot of remakes of foreign films, especially when it's shot for shot, line for line, the same thing. Is a lot of times lines and line deliveries that work in one language do not translate to another where, again, like the more subdued, kind of calm deliveries work better in German than in English. Like, I was just noticing a lot of it just and they were clearly being directed to say it the exact same way as the original actors. And it just feels like a carbon copy that doesn't work as well. Like the first one had so much feeling, so much depth, so much emotion, so much horror, so much just genuine like brutal like the scene in the original where she's climbing out of the window to escape and he says please forgive me and she's like I love you and they kiss and everything broke my fucking heart and the in the new one it just felt like this is just a just hollow copy because Naomi Watts and Tim Roth aren't being allowed to play this their own way. They're clearly being directed to play it like
That's where, do you
identical
think
to the
the
other
issue
two
is?
actors.
Do you think the issue is the fact that he chose to make it the same film, or do you think it's the same director twice? Because I've seen so many directors remake their own original movie. Like Michael Mann did Heat, and a couple of his other movies, who originally had films that he had made. Like Mindhunter was originally a short film that he turned into, or not Mindhunter. I don't know why I said that.
Manhunter.
Manhunter,
But
that he turned into a feature
and he
length,
did
and it
LA
did, and he
Takedown.
elevated it, and this
Yeah.
just didn't do that.
Well, but again, that's a short film versus a feature film. That's the difference. It's two completely different things. This
But
is
like King
literally the
Kong was
exact.
a feature film that Peter Jackson changed for
But
the
again,
better.
it's not the same
Source
Or,
director. It's not the
yeah,
same
he
director.
did this very intentionally, like not like
So
I'm gonna do
both of
shot for
y'all
shot
think
because I
it's
don't know what I'm doing.
intentional, is
Oh, it's
basically
Gary.
Of
what I'm trying
course,
to
he's
get
making
at.
the
Oh no,
same
he
movie
said it was.
twice.
Yeah,
That's the whole
Why though?
clearly the whole.
Why?
because the specific reasoning was he felt like he didn't get the right audience enough of an
Well,
audience
that's what
with
I
this
was gonna
original one,
say. That's
and
what I
so
was
he
gonna
got
say. Yeah, because the
a
whole
list, and that was the one.
his whole intention of making the original movie was it was a commentary on, violence in American media and how it corrupts young people. And the two kids are the representation of like, and I could kind of tell when I was watching it that that was probably the case somewhat because when they kept calling each other like Beavis and Butthead and stuff, I was like, yeah, there was a big thing back in the 90s about how that show was corrupting young people and all that stuff. And so I don't know, it kind of seemed like, okay, maybe that's, but then I read afterwards that was his whole point. And I'm gonna say I really like Michael Haneke. I really like the original movie. His motivations behind making the original were kind of pretentious in my opinion, because not only was he really trying to just like insult the audience as much as he could with what he was saying, literally having the characters look at the camera and like kind of lecture them at
Well, the
points.
rewind, yeah, the rewind.
Yeah, and all that
That's the
stuff.
biggest middle finger to the audience
Yeah,
ever.
exactly. And all that kind of good stuff.
Click is
But
the biggest remake of this movie to exist.
say what?
Click is the biggest remake of this movie to
Yeah.
exist.
Yep. They were like, "What if you use that, but for good, ish?"
But also he also said when the first movie came out, he was like, I don't want this movie to be a success because if it is, that means audiences misunderstood the point of it if they enjoyed it so much. Yeah, okay, you didn't want it to be a success, so 10 years later, you're fucking remade it shot for shot, line for line, and released it in America with American actors just so more people could see it. So I'm like, you're kind of full of it a little bit with your motivations behind this. And honestly, the remake feels to me like a comedian who tells a joke, it's really good, but nobody laughs. He gets a bad crowd. So he tells the same fucking joke again, like, you guys are supposed to laugh at this, aren't you? And just bombs the second time. And it's like, yeah, we heard you the first time, man. Like, you didn't need to do it a second time. I don't know. It's kind of because the second time is just so floundering and desperate. And it's just like it was a fucking waste of time because I was like, this is the same damn thing, just not as good. None of the deliveries are as emotional. None of it feels as I don't know, and just like it didn't work. The only actor in the fucking movie to me in the remake who was genuinely really trying was the kid. I don't know what it was. He was really like giving it his all. The
That
other
scene where he
actors
goes to the neighbor's house is
in the
amazing.
original movie, that is one of the most suspenseful fucking scenes I've ever seen in anything. I was on the fucking edge of my seat watching that whole sequence. I thought it was absolutely terrifying. I
You're
love in
on
the
the edge until
original.
Michael Pick shows up.
The original was so fucking amazing in the way that like so many of the most terrifying scenes happen off screen. Like the scene where the kid gets shot was absolutely that just went through my fucking soul. Just in that long ass shot of her just sitting there not saying anything with the TV blaring in the background. And then the absolutely just devastating moment of the husband releasing those just
Oh,
otherworldly cries that Tim Roth clearly refused to do because when
dude.
he did it, again, unintentionally hilarious, he sounded like he was taking a shit in the new version. Like,
Damn.
it didn't sound like he
I do
was in
need to
pain.
apologize. I should have known this was an American version because they had NASCAR on the TV.
Yeah, they
I
did.
fucking loved with the blood dripping down the TV as the NASCAR race was going on.
Yeah. But there's so many moments in the remake that I was just like, it's either not as good or it's kind of unintentionally funny. And it's just Michael Pitt was really the worst actor in the thing by far. I thought he was so miscast as that character. He just because I didn't realize until the remake how much dialogue his character has. He really speaks so much more than the other characters. And you don't notice in the original because the original actor, I hate that I can't remember his fucking name, Arno
Ulrich
something.
Mulke or whatever.
It's Arno something. Fritz Arno. I don't remember what his fucking name is, but
Oh, okay. Wait, you're talking about someone else. The
the
dad?
original guy. No, I'm talking about the kid, the main kid, not the husband.
Oh, okay, okay.
But he's so good. He's so good in the original. You don't even notice that he's the one with the most lines. Because he's just so natural in his delivery. But when it's Michael Pitt's monotonous ass grating voice in the remake saying all those lines, you feel it a lot more. And it's just like, God damn. But yeah, again, just totally pointless. Didn't really enjoy it. Thought every scene was just a pale imitation of the original. And even if someone like Naomi Watts can't even make this work, something is wrong. But again, it's not her fault. I mean, she's clearly being. I even read as much. She said that Michael Haneke directed them specifically to do it exactly like the original, and I didn't even need to read that. It's obvious when you see it.
Well, that's where is Tim Roth just a bad actor then? Because Ulrich Muhe.
That's it.
Oh,
Can't be slurring Tim Roth's name
No,
on the podcast.
I'm
Tim, well, I
sorry.
Just
read
because you
that.
don't like
Like,
his performance doesn't mean he's as a whole a
if
bad
he's
actor.
supposed to recreate the original father's performance, I mean,
Well, neither did Naomi Watts. And again, one of the moments that
but
I
she came
thought was
close.
not for me. I mean,
I felt for her way more than anyone else
to
in the
me,
remake.
it was again. I remember in the original, the scene where they grab the son and put the bag over his head. I just remember the actress in the original. Again, I feel bad for not remembering her name. Because she was fucking phenomenal. In that scene, she like lunges
She's
forward
something.
like her with her whole being and is like so ready to just like fucking kill them. In this one, again, it just feels so like she just kind of moves forward a little bit, doesn't really put that much energy into it. I'm just, it's like everything about this just feels like a fucking lifeless imitation of the original version. Like, in the original, I fully believe she was ready to defend her son, and in this one, it's like, I guess you kind of care about him maybe a little bit. I don't know. But it's yeah, the whole thing was just a complete waste of time. It's like, but he wanted to because again, the whole point of him doing the remake was he really, really, really wanted to like get it through American audiences' heads like violence in media is bad. And it's like, yeah, we heard you the first time, bro. Like we heard you. We get it, you know, and I know people are probably split on the end, but in the original I had mixed feelings about it at first, but ultimately I was like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I also appreciate that you ended the movie right after the remote control thing, because if the movie had gone on any longer, I would have said fuck this, because the stakes are gone. If you know that like she can or they can rewind the movie at any point, the stakes are gone. You know that they're going to win. So I'm glad that like a minute after that happens, they kill her. So they just get it out of the way and you don't have to think about it anymore. Because otherwise it overstays its welcome. But
Well, that's where definitely all of the movies we've shown, like, if you see the remake on its own, this could be its version of the movie for you. But if you watch the original first, it could also be that version for you.
True.
And so I find all three of what we've each decided to showcase very good representations of how a remake could be end up happening and how they each have their own individual impact.
Yeah.
yeah, I like how
I chose
again,
Funny Games kind of because I knew it was like the same exact movie, but at least it was the same director. And so it's not like Psycho where you're just like, really, why? Like, dead like this one. There to me, there's like I know Jackson's saying you don't get it. I at least kind of get this one. Psycho is just more of like a
well,
okay, fuck you for saying
I at least understand why he did it again. There's no point, but I understand he was like, no, I want this to reach a wider audience, a wider American audience. And so at least I understand that. But with Psycho, Gus Van Sant's reason was when they asked him, Matt, you were the one who I think originally told me that story.
yeah,
They said, why did you do this? And he said, so no one else would have to. And I'm like,
exactly.
what the fuck did that mean?
That's just under the assumption somebody else
I
was
mean,
gonna do
nobody else
that.
has, so
Well, there's a
Yeah,
reason
never
because
mind,
you
never
fucking
mind. They made the
shouldn't.
TV show Bates Motel, Bates Motel,
But like again, the Psycho one
which
is
is
also
better than
shot for
his
shot.
fucking
So
version.
yeah, shot for shot. Like I guess he just didn't want somebody remaking it differently, but it just dumb.
it's still very weird. I was always like, why the fuck? I have no idea why he did that. But especially that was a year after Good Will Hunting, which was the biggest success of his career. So I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? But yeah, Sam, to your point, I do think it is interesting seeing because I do think all three pairings are very different. I think it's like not even just in terms of how we feel about them, but in terms of just how they chose to remake the film. Because again, Funny Games, direct fucking copy, shot for shot, line for line. King Kong took the basic beats of the story and just expanded on them and did a lot of extra stuff. Sorcerer basically only just took the premise and then created a whole bunch of original stuff around it that wasn't in the original movie. So, yeah, I think we have a wide range of remakes on the remake special.
Well,
And not only is it a matter of being 3 for 3, are we 6 for 6?
Kong, like I said, Kong is 3 for 6 on planes. I like. I was just thinking about this. From on a collective, I kind of gather we're 2 for 3 on remakes, 2 for 3 on originals, because you had 50-50 opinions on
No, I'd say I'm
the win
three. I'd say I'm 3 for 3 on
on
originals.
originals.
Yeah, I
Okay,
Just
didn't.
not on the remake.
No, not the remakes. I'm 2 for 3 on remakes.
Yeah.
okay.
I'd say I'm about 3 for 3 on each because I liked all of them to a degree. I mean, I didn't watch anyone and I was like, this sucks. I was just kind of like, eh.
If I had watched Wages of Fear on a better night, I would have definitely had more good things to say about it, probably. But,
I mean,
um,
it's hard because the dialogue, like, if you miss stuff that's going on in the first little bit, it just kind of like you can't really like pick up the ball that is rolling, and that's where it definitely like I feel like I am very blessed to have seen Wages of Fear first because that just completely like I saw cinema a different way when I saw Wages of Fear the first time, but I also didn't know that Sorcerer existed, and so it took years until I saw weirdly the Kentucky Fried Chicken scene from Killer Joe that I was like, I need to check out some Freakin'. And
I'm
then
freaking.
I saw the poster for Sorcerer and I was like, this looks amazing. Like, granted, I thought it was a very magical film because of the title and everything, and I still don't fully understand the title, but I just
Name of the
I
truck,
dove
right?
in. I
yeah.
dove in, and that as I showed. Oh, I'll pull it up. This scared me, and that's where when I went into Wages of Fear the first time, it was such a dark. Like I didn't expect anything happy to be in this film, and got I degressed as a human being into being in that environment. And so when Sorcerer came into my life, I couldn't necessarily connect with each of these individual character stories because I was in a whole different place in my life, and so I'm 6 for 6. Everything,
Hell yeah.
everything this week is everything I love about cinema and everything I love about just the fact that somebody else can see what you're doing, understand it, and make it their own. Because there's so many remakes out there that just they fall flat on their faces.
Most of them, I'd say.
So
Again, looking at you, How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch.
that leads me to my final thing.
Somebody,
But I'm
I
gonna let y'all say what you gotta say before I present it to you.
was gonna say, speaking of How to Train Your Dragon, somebody stayed until the end credits for that. And I don't know if you guys know what the end credits for How to Train Your Dragon, the live action is. It's like 1 fucking second of a picture of Toothless in a fucking notebook and a hand tapping it, and that's it. And people, yeah, literally, I just thought they were up in the back, and all of a sudden I just hear, I fucking waited for that. Thank God there's nobody else in the theater, like no kids, but I was like, damn.
That's the funniest shit ever.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I wanted to tell you, but we can't.
Before I do what I do, though, and before you close this out, Jackson, do either of y'all have any last things to say about funny games?
Nope.
Other than, as I told Jackson, and I don't know if the earlier mention will make the cut. The original is like that dog being killed. You don't understand that happened until the silence of that film just answers your question. I think the remake very much makes it obvious. And then the fact that they showed the dog flopping out of the car and everything, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, they did that in both versions.
I don't know. I think I have been more impacted by the dog flopping out in the American version every time I've seen that versus
In the original,
the French
to
one.
me, in the original, I knew the minute they left the house with the damn golf clubs, I'm like, they're gonna kill
Oh,
the dog.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's what. And then when, of course, when the dog's barking and then you hear it stop, you're like, ah, fuck. And
Well,
then he's like, yeah,
yeah,
I had to
that's
test it out. I'm like, ah, fuck.
Yep.
But yeah, just the gradual build and then him winking at the fucking camera.
yeah.
One thing also, this is, I guess, my last thing that I'll say about Funny Games, the original. Something that I love as well about it is on a rewatch, it's so cool how um you fucking and you kind of also piece it together as the movie's going on. The way where this story fits in the sequence of events, like where you see them terrorizing the other neighbors at the beginning of the movie, but you don't know what's going on yet. And then as it goes on, you realize, oh fuck, exactly what we're seeing right now is exactly what was going on with them. And then when he goes to the other house at the end, and they had visited, this family's house, you're like, oh, fuck. That for the next family is what the family before was for them. And again, just I love the whole like looking at it in a different light kind of thing after the fact. It's just really interesting to think about. That was one thing when I watched the remake, I was thinking of that time just because it was the same thing pretty much. I was like, now I know. Now I know what the first family's going through.
Look behind the red door, and it's
Indeed.
just a regular family just about to get fucked.
Exactly. And
Amen.
Naomi Watts has no jelly rolls.
I like how also we did not mention once up until this very moment of me bringing it up. Kong, Skull Island.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah,
Because
like
it's a yeah.
the
I'm about to
2007.
bring it up, Matt. I'm about to bring it up.
Oh shit. Okay.
Jackson has had his podcast. We've had many slideshows on this podcast this season, but I need to finally share the things that are important to me in life.
Oh boy.
And this is a complete guide to the greatest remakes of all time. Granted, I thought of this idea at 2 in the morning this morning. So forgive me if I forget a few things, and I want to apologize to you, Big Puss. You're wearing a Godzilla shirt, and there are numerous Godzilla remakes that I have not covered, and I apologize.
Fuck you, dumpster.
But as we did on this podcast, we showcased 3 amazing films that got remade in even better ways and not so great ways. So, we got the Kong, we got it all. And speaking of Kong Skull Island, let me try to find a way to move this over. So yes, we got Kong, we got the 76 Kong, we got the 2005, we got Kong Skull Island. But not only that, we got multiple countries representing this film. We got Conga, and then we got Shikari right under there. The mighty Kong, one of the greatest musical interpretations of a film to exist. And we cannot forget King Kong, the 2016 fan film remake. Numerous films after the original 33 version. Oh, let me see if it'll let me go. Oh, and we got Wages of Fear. You got the original. You got the original remake, Violent Road. The Middle East decided to pick it up. They went wild with it. And then we had William Friedkin's masterpiece, Sorcerer. And of course, Netflix got their hands on it. And we have Le Seigneur de la Pure, and that I have not seen, but I guarantee it is nothing compared to the other 4 films that I decided to highlight as genuine.
Can I point out something really quick?
What's up?
The poster of Wages of Fear has all the actors from Sorcerer on it.
Wow. Damn, wow.
That's funny.
It's
I did
literally
not
the
pick that up.
poster Sorcerer with the truck like on the bridge.
Yeah.
What
That's the same truck.
Exactly. But I didn't realize that when I made this slideshow, because it has been less than a day since I started this slideshow presentation. I had weeks to decide this, but I decided this morning that I would do this.
Got click on there as
Oh,
should
shit.
be.
Funny games. Also connected to Click because of all the rewinding, all of the mixture of media. Y'all know. But we see many remakes within the idealization of horror films. And so, of course, we have Nosferatu, one of the greatest films of all time. And another great film of all time, The Wolfman. Are y'all there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Nah,
I can't see you anymore, so I don't see any reactions or anything.
No.
But The Wolfman has had many interpretations. And as well as those interpretations, we see the development of more people deciding that their version is the most important version. Invasion of the Body Snatchers did its due, came back in the 70s, did its due. Abel Ferrara, second time on this podcast, did his due. But what did they do? They kept pushing it. And what happens when you keep pushing it? You go to the originals.
Yes.
You go to the originals.
I knew.
Thank you.
I knew about it. Holy shit!
Thank you. I was
Not
hoping you would
only
do this at some point, so I'm glad
you
you
I didn't
take-
see what the one on the left said. Holy shit!
Not only do you take the originals and make them better, you go forth.
Please tell me you have the
You've
Pirates of the
taken me
Caribbean one.
further.
Oh,
One of the biggest remade films of all time,
Bust full of dollars.
Yojimbo, also had a slew of remakes.
Last Man Standing.
Omega Man, Last Man Standing, Suyuzaki Western Django. And we got Cliffhanger. The Stallone film, it's tried and true remake, Cliff Banger. And then now, and I can't remember his name all of a sudden, the dude who made The Orphan and Monster Calls and all that.
J.A. Bayona.
Thank you. Maybe that's not his name. But he is remaking Cliffhanger as a new film.
Where's Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2?
Fair point. We have The Rocketeer and its tried and true remake, The Cocketeer.
Here, okay.
Where else would you go with it other than dicks?
Please tell me you have the Pirates of the Caribbean one somewhere.
We all started with Forrest Gump. But how many of you have experienced Forrest Hump? Much less, how many of you have experienced Lowell Singh Chahada?
Hey, you got me one of those.
The classics. I don't know. Matt probably doesn't have it with him now.
I actually
But
don't,
he
but I have
owns
it at home.
one of these remakes, if not multiple.
At
You know
least
what I'm
3.
talking about, Matt.
Yeah, at least 3.
We've experienced Scarface, but the true remake
The Vagnificence.
is Seven Samurai, with numerous remakes, including the Vagificent 7, a lesbian parody. Directed by Tarantino XXX. A classic within. Oh, y'all are seeing my screen still.
Yep.
Yep.
There we go. A classic. But we wouldn't be here as well without the heroism of Zach and Miri making the porno. That is the antithesis of many of these films. We have Star Wars, Empire Strikes Ass, The Phantom Menace, and Revenge of the Shit, the all anal final chapter. Who we would not be here without. But there is a film, and it is not Sex Machina.
I'm about to find that one.
That led us to this whole thing, and I don't think it might be a femur slice, but I must say, I find it really funny that the porn parody of Taxi Driver is just called Taxi Driver. But
Taxi Drive Her.
It should have been called that.
Yep.
Avatar 2.
Escape from Pandora.
Pandora.
Pandora brought us even closer to what we needed. And it is not just more horror films.
Hey, A Nightmare on Twink Street is basically A Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
You're not wrong.
I tried to find a Nightmare on Elm Street 2 poster that matched that, but I couldn't. Edward Penis Hands. We would not be here without Edward Penis Hands in our lives, because there would not be a parody of film without Edward Penis Hands.
Tom Cruise would have accepted that role because he knows how he'd use the bathroom.
Well, fair. But I challenge you to find someone who has not heard of, at least joked about, Edward Penis Hands. But this isn't where we began. And my last slide of this entire thing takes us all the way back. All the way back to our roots.
No porn parody for this one. Oh, there is.
There is.
All right, it looked too normal to me.
My coworker told me about this today when I spawned the idea and I tried to present it forth. He said, "What about the Roots parody?" And I said, "What do you goddamn mean? It can't be Roots." But it is.
It's like it can't be. I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it's not Roots.
Legitimately, it took me about 10 seconds to realize which one was the porn parody. They all look so realistic.
Yeah. It's the really good, the font on the porn parody one is really good.
But I had to include also the Family Guy Roots parody because that is a remake of Roots. And that is where I must stress to y'all, there are hundreds of remakes out there. You just got to find the one that speaks to you about that story.
Amen.
Say what you will about the original. Many times it's better. But
I'm going to shout out The Whores Have Eyes as well. It's a good remake.
I had the poster of that too, but I just couldn't fit it all in time. So
I actually have the DVD of that one.
You have The Whores Have Eyes and the official Scarface parody.
And I have the American Dad parody and the Breaking Bad parody.
I almost brought up the Breaking Bad one too. But I didn't want any of the title XXX. The only one I could include was This Ain't Avatar 2. Because it wasn't.
Pandora.
Sure wasn't.
But I love y'all. And I want y'all to know that no matter what stage in our lives, we will remake the friendship even stronger, even more detailed, even more present, because we are finally the truest 343 we have been in a minute.
Amen.
Amen to that.
And to that, we say adieu.
We say goodbye. We say adieu. And we say,
Like and subscribe.
what the fuck is goodbye in German?
Auf Wiedersehen?
Auf Wiedersehen, yes. Auf Wiedersehen. But since what Auf Wiedersehen actually means is until I see you again, and I never want to see you again, to you, I say goodbye.
I mean,
took you a second to remember what that was from?
No, I mean, with no, like, funny games, they never saw them again. King Kong, we never saw Kong again. Sorcerer and Wages of
We
Fear.
never saw any of those guys again.
Never saw any of those guys again.
So it is fitting.
It is
But
not
yes.
an off beater saying it is a goodbye.
But yes, what Sam says is true. And we hope this has been. It hasn't been quite a remake of the original episode of 3 for 3, but you know,
me just being in my old place.
yes, and Sam wearing the same shirt, and me doing nothing really except kind of wearing a similar looking shirt.
So Jackson, you're the shot for shot remake. I'm like the one that's like, I'm trying to figure out which one I am. It seems like King Kong, I guess, and I'm like Wages of Fear and Sorcerer.
I guess that's who each of us are. But yes, we are a very definitely fucking back. We are fucking back, full on 343, and we can't wait to give you. We have some very good episodes coming up, some good picks, and I'm sure we'll have all kinds of great discussions and bits and all kinds of things. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Yeah. See you next week.
Peace.